we can talk about headings, multiple choice, completion, and the best title. So it's quite a good one, this, for training purposes, really. So the first thing I need to do when I approach any reading passage for IELTS is to look at the title. Look at the title of the reading passage, okay? Unfortunately, there isn't a title in this case because that can happen. Sometimes there isn't a title. I would say most reading passages have a title, actually, but some of them don't, and it's not very helpful. And I must tell you, actually, before we go any further, I must tell you that I have chosen this reading because, in my view, it's a difficult reading, this one. This is a tricky one. And maybe after seeing how to do it, maybe you will think, oh, it's not so difficult. Why did I think it was difficult before, you know? But when you know how to do it, it becomes a little bit less difficult. Anyway, I've put two pieces of information after the reading passage here. It's the number of words, as you can see, 995 words. So it's longer than average. Average is 900, just below 900 words, the number of words for each passage. So this is longer. Also, I've put here the Fre Index. That is a measurement of how easy or difficult it is to read. Fre means flesh reading ease, and the E means how easy is it to read. And so the higher the number, the easier to read. Well, this 35, Fre 35, is a low number. That means it's not easy. It's very, you know, on the negative side of easy. The average, I would say, in IELTS for Fre is round about 40, 41, that sort of thing. So I know that this is tricky. I know that it's long. Okay. Oh, the host has asked me to start my video. It is started, I think. Oh, anyway. Okay. All right, that's fine. I just had a message there to start the video, but I'm pretty sure it was started. Anyway, so it's longer than usual, and it's more difficult than usual as well. Okay. Also, there's no title. That doesn't help at all. And also, for some strange reason, sometimes IELTS uses a very small font size. Not always. I mean, other times it's normal, quite big. But other times, you look at the size of the print, the size of the font, and it's very small. And you get the idea that they're trying to be difficult here. So it really was a passage that I could pick out as a difficult passage for many reasons. Many reasons. So with that said, let's see how I approach this. Well, as I said just a minute ago, look at the title. Well, okay, we said there isn't a title. So in that case, what you do, if there isn't a title, you just read the first sentence. The first sentence, more or less, should give you a general idea or a title, topic, not only of this paragraph, but it should be the topic of the whole passage as well. So we have to read that very carefully. There isn't a title, so this first sentence, I have to imagine, is like a title. So I have to read it carefully. So the role of government in environmental management is difficult but inescapable. Okay, there's a few difficult words there, inescapable. But I can see one particular word which is very useful, and that is this word role. There are certain words which I call organization words. These are words which give you the general topic of paragraphs, sentences, questions, words which indicate the general meaning of a sentence. And role is one. Others are like advantage, disadvantage, cause, effect, result, conclusion. Those sorts of words are really important words, which, as I say, I call them organization words. I can see here role. So role it's only 4 letters, but I know that the word role is an important word academically. The role of the government, the role of the teacher, the role of the policeman. You know, it's a heavy word. So I have to use that as a focus. So I would ask the question, if I see the word role, I would kind of ask the question, something like this, like whose role? Whose role? And then I would ask another question, to do what? You know, whose role? To do what? And so with that in mind, I would try to understand this sentence. So the role of government in environmental management. Okay, so that means it's the role of the government, and IELTS loves to talk about government, by the way, the role of the government in managing the environment. Now, also, of course, environment is a very common area, common topic in IELTS. So the role of the government in managing the environment. And so you could say, okay, can I imagine that the role of the government is positive or negative in managing the environment? I mean, does your government, does my government, anybody's government, does it play a good part? Is it a positive influence in managing the environment? Do they do a good job in managing the environment? And I think, well, don't know, maybe yes, something like that. But then actually in the next sentence, I can see another very important word, and that is the word however. Now, however, is a light, a strong light, shining on important information. So I happen to see however, because I know I have to look for words like however. And so I'm going to read this sentence as well. Often, however, governments act in an even more harmful way. Harmful. Harmful, like smoking is harmful. Cigarettes are harmful. So what it is saying, because I have been able to focus on particular words that I know carry a lot of meaning, like role, however, it's called unpacking. I can understand what this reading passage is going to be about. I think it's going to be about how bad your government, my government, everybody's government is in managing the environment. Okay. Well, that's the title. So as I said to you before, the first thing you need to do is to look at the title. And by the way, if there is a title, I would read the title, of course, very carefully, but also I would read the first sentence and maybe the second sentence as well, just to support the title, just to get more information about the title, really. Depending on your level of English, if you are a pretty high level, then I would say to you, well, read as much of the first paragraph as you can in about, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe even less than that. I'm not saying to read all of the first paragraph, but you see, the first paragraph is quite useful because it really does introduce the whole passage. So you do want to read that. I mean, you don't want to read the whole passage. It's too long. There's too much information. So there are certain parts of the reading passage that I feel that I have to read. And the first paragraph, I feel I should read that. But time is an issue. So I would read as much as I can of the first paragraph in about, say, 20 seconds, which you may think is a very short time. In fact, 20 seconds is quite a long time. And I'm not saying to read the whole paragraph, So maybe the first 2 sentences, maybe the last sentence of the first paragraph could be interesting. But anyway, the idea is to get a general sense of the whole passage. That's the first thing you need to do. So we know what it's about. We know what this passage is about. It's about the bad management of the environment by governments. Okay. Now I want to look at the questions because I have to decide on a strategy. I know you know the meaning of the word strategy because it's an Arabic word as well. With reading, you need like a plan, a strategy. How am I going to do this? Well, this is what we're talking about today. The first thing to do is to look at the title. The next thing you do, go straight to the questions. You need to see the type of question. So we can see the matching headings, and we saw already multiple choice questions and the other types as well. So we can start to think about a strategy here. By the way, section A, that's question 27, is asking you what is the heading for section A that we have just read the first sentence. Now this is bringing us now to headings questions. With headings questions, normally these headings are the topics of the different paragraphs. They are the topics, and usually the topic of the paragraph is the first sentence. In the topic sentence, it's not always true. The topic of each of these paragraphs, the topic is usually in the first sentence. If not, it'll be in the second sentence. If not, it'll be in the last sentence. One of those three, usually like that. That would be about 90% of cases. I can give you a case where, the third sentence is the topic. Well, yes, I know. But in most cases, the topic of that paragraph is the first sentence or the second sentence or the first and second sentence connected together, or the last sentence of the particular paragraph. Okay. Anyway, we already read the topic. So before I even start thinking about the strategy, I think I can answer this question already because we already read the title. The role of governments in managing the environment is not very good. So which one of these here, I mean, we don't have to answer all of these now, but I have just read that, so I can answer this one now. So rule number 1 in IELTS reading, answer a question as soon as you possibly can. Don't wait. If you know the answer to something, answer it now. And in this case, yeah, I think we can answer it. And if you look here at number 5, here, governance and management of the environment. It sticks out. You can see that that is the answer, you know. And so first thing you do is just to put here V. Yeah, and also don't forget when you've answered these questions, just to cross them out so you don't have to, by accident, read them again. Just cross them out. Okay. So headings. Usually, as I say, headings, the heading should be the same as the topic, and the topic of the paragraph should be in the first sentence, or second, or last. If it's not in those 3 areas, I generally drop it. I kind of get a little bit, can I say a little bit angry? I kind of drop it and then answer the other questions, you know, answer the other questions here, cross out as many of the others as I can, and then come back to that one at the end when I've only got a choice of 2 or 3 possibilities. And that makes life a lot easier like that. So it's the first, the second, the last, okay? And that doesn't take too long to do. If in those few cases where the heading is, the topic is not in the first, second, and last, and you can't match it with the heading, drop it like a hot potato. Just drop it. Never mind. With a smile on your face, just go to the next question. Come back later. No problem. You are going to be like a machine. You're just going to keep going all the time. Don't stop. You know, when you stop, you become confused, and you become a little bit sort of nervous, and then you start to lose your, you know, clear way of thinking. So just keep the pace. Just keep the pace, the speed. Just keep it going steadily, not too fast, but just, you know, just keep going all the time. So we looked at the title and we happened to see the headings. We were looking at the type of questions. We saw headings, okay? By the way, we were able to answer question 27, even before we look at the other questions, because that was the topic. By the way, headings, as I mentioned before, headings questions are the only type of question that comes before the reading passage. All other questions come after the reading passage. And the reason the question, I suppose, could be, why do they do that? Why do they give the headings questions before the passage and no other type? Well, it's IELTS trying to be helpful. They're trying to say to you that before you answer any other questions, these are the topics of all of the paragraphs in the passage. So they are trying to be helpful. What they're really saying to you is, why don't you read these headings and to give you a good idea about the reading passage? Yeah, I think that's quite a good idea. But what I would prefer to do is to look at certain things, predicted results. I know that prediction and results, this is what, as I mentioned, I would call organization words. There's a list of these which I've made. Anyway, words like predicted results and impact. Impact is like the effect, the consequences. For here, the consequences. Absolutely. These are really important words. They're important in the passage, and they're important in the questions and in the listening as well. You focus on these words. And you got here effects again. And I think there you've got affect here, the verb. And here you've got prospects. Okay. I also know that when you have words like prediction and or predicted results, I am pretty sure, even if I have not read this passage, I am pretty sure that this one here, number 1, this would be for a paragraph at the end of the reading passage, not at the beginning. So these words can give me an idea, not very accurate, but it can give me an idea about more or less where in the passage you're likely to find this. I mean, the cause will come before the impacts, and you've got a lot of impacts here actually, and you're looking for those consequences, those effects of that, you know. Prospects, again, it would be at the end, more likely at the end of the passage. By the way, so I would look at those. I wouldn't spend a long time reading those headings. I don't have a lot of time, but you know, just skim through them quickly as I've done. Right, let's clear it now and let's recap. So we looked at the title, and after looking at the title, we want to look at the type of question. We can see headings, okay, and we were able to answer one question, by the way. But let's have a look at the other questions now. Let's have a look at the other questions, because we're trying to find a good strategy for this. And I can see here multiple choice questions. Okay, so multiple choice questions are, well, if I say they're quite nice, I don't suppose that means very much, but I quite like them for a couple of reasons, actually. The first reason I like them is that they are in order. So those headings questions are not in order in the passage. The headings are not. That would be too easy, wouldn't it? So, but anyway, these are multiple choice questions, and there are different types of multiple choice. But the strategy is the same for all of them, actually. The first thing is they are in order. So once you have found 33, 34, 35, and so on, will come in order after that. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that multiple choice questions are questions usually about one particular paragraph. What I mean is that when you find the answer to 33, the answer to 34 will be in the next paragraph, 35 in the next paragraph. So they are questions about that particular paragraph, you know. It's possible that 34 could be 2 paragraphs below the answer for 33. It can skip a paragraph. So once you've found the location of the answer for 33, the others are easy to find. I don't say many things are easy in IELTS, but you know, finding the multiple choice answers is quite easy, actually. I mean, understanding what is written maybe not so easy, but finding the location of the answer is easy. Okay, so what I like to do when I look at the questions, so I've looked at the headings, and now I'm looking at multiple choice. And before I look at the next lot here, I'm not answering anything. Okay, I answered the heading question because I could, but I mean, I'm not really answering. I'm still thinking about the strategy. How can I do this? Well, because I know that multiple choice questions are in order, I want to find the first one. I want to find it now. I want to see where it starts. And so what I would do is to look for if there are any nice keywords in the call it the question, it's the stem, but call it the question. And I can see here, IELTS again is being very nice. They are giving me 2 very nice key words, a keyword to show me where the answer is. Okay, so I can see here 1982, United States. And so what I would do is just go back quickly, I mean really quickly, go back and start scanning. Not skimming, scanning. Scanning means to read like a snake. What I mean is I'm looking for 1982 and United States. So I'm looking for 1982, 1982, 1982, United States. There you go. Gotcha. Okay, so I've got that there. So in other words, I know that question 34 is in paragraph C. This is very useful information. I know that the first one starts here. Okay, so let's have a look at the others. So this is very useful. So 33, I should say, not 34. 33 starts in paragraph C. So that tells me that 34, 35 will be in the next paragraphs. Okay, very useful information. I'm not going to answer that one right now, not yet. Hold on. Let's have a look now at the other questions. Again, we're looking at strategy here. We're looking at strategy. Not easy strategy. I mean, I know I've had many years. I've had many years to think about this, and for maybe you are thinking, you know, what's he talking about? What we're talking about is a strategy. You're looking at this difficult reading passage, and you're trying to figure out. You're trying to understand, how can I do it? And I hope by the end of this talk, you will have a much better idea about how to do it. So be patient. Hopefully it'll all come together in a minute. You'll see. Be patient. Questions 37 to 40. And it says here, or maybe my favorite word actually, is complete, completion. So in other words, gap fills, as you can see. Now completion are, again, they are in order. So once you have found the first one, the others will be in order. That is 19 times out of 20. There are sometimes they are slightly out of order, but it's not very often. And by the way, if they are a little bit out of order, let's say 40, the answer to 40 comes before 39 in the passage, it's probably in the same sentence. So in other words, in one sentence, you can have 2 answers with completion, and maybe 40 is at the beginning of the sentence and 39 is at the end. So you could say, it's not in order. No, but in the same sentence. So for me, it doesn't matter. So with completion, so let me just clarify that. With multiple choice questions, as we said before, they are in paragraph order. With completion, yes, they're in order, but you can have 2 answers in one sentence. So, you know, it can come all together pretty closely. So in this case, they are giving me the effect, cause and effect. These are the biggest words in IELTS, cause and effect, for your writing. I know we're not doing writing today, but the 2 things that you have to think about in your writing is cause and effect. Anyway, for now, they give you the effect, in this case 37, deforestation, and you have to find the cause. You have to find the cause for that effect. Okay, so these two are very much linked together. So all you have to do is to find deforestation. If I don't know the meaning of this word, then I hope it's going to be the same word. It could be a synonym, could be. But a word like deforestation probably is going to be the same word, because they can't really expect you to know the meaning of that. So probably it's the same word. And so the answer for 37 will come before deforestation. So the question is now, and this is what I like to do looking at the questions. The question is, where does this one start? And because you are an experienced IELTS student, you would have read the instructions. You would have read just here, just one moment. You would have read this. You would have seen this. Complete the table below using the information in section C. Section C. So I didn't have to look. I don't have to look all over the reading passage for the answers to these. Yeah, it's telling me to look in section C. So just have a quick look there. Section C, right? Oh, section C. That is also where the multiple choice questions begin. Remember, question 33, United States, 1982. So suddenly now, section C becomes a big story, because I know in section C, I know that question 29 is section C. I know that question 33 is question C. Yeah, it is in paragraph C. And I know that 37 to 40, that's another 4 questions, are in paragraph C, or they're calling it section C. Yeah. So you see, just by looking at the questions first, you start to understand more or less, it's never going to be exact, but more or less where to start looking for the answers. That's why the most important point about this lesson today is to look at the questions and try, if you can, to find the beginning, the first question, and any other information here. This is very nice. This is a difficult reading passage. Suddenly, by knowing 1 or 2 things, knowing that the multiple choice questions are in order, let's look at the first one. Let's see where it starts. And then knowing that I have to read the instructions here, and knowing that the headings are also, there that I have to answer. I know that in section C, in paragraph C, I have six questions just in one paragraph. This is very nice. This is very nice, because I don't have to read the whole passage. I may have to read, maybe a lot of the passage in some cases. But in this case, if I read the whole thing, I'm not focusing on particular paragraphs, but I can see questions 37 to 40 are in C, 33 is in C, and question 29, whatever it is in C as well. And suddenly you start to feel that you are in control, you're in charge, you are if you like, in charge of this reading. You're not, it's not too difficult for you. And by the way, let's have a look at 41. 41, choose the best title. Usually out of 40 questions in IELTS, one of them will be like this. It's quite an easy question because one of these is is the title, and the point is that you and I, we know what the title is. We've only read one sentence, okay, two sentences, okay, but we know what the title is. We know. So if you look at A, B, C, D, E here, which of these do you think is the title? That's without reading. Well, I mean, for me, it's quite obvious. It's not increasing the world's food supply, soil erosion, da, 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 da. No, it's going to be this one. It's going to be this one, environmental management. And so almost straight away, I would put here A. The reason I like to answer best title questions early, not later, is because when you, after you have read a lot of the passage and then you do the best title, you will say to yourself, oh, but they did talk about soil erosion. Oh, and they did talk about fertilizers and pesticides and farm subsidies. Yeah, sure. They did talk about all of these. Sure, they did. But these are supporting information for the main idea. The main idea out of these is definitely A, environmental management. Yeah, I would be very surprised if that is not the answer. So just because they talk about these things in different paragraphs does not mean, just because they talk about those things, it does not mean it is the title. And so that's why I like to answer this question as early as I can. I can double check. I could even double check now. The way I would double check, the way I would check that A is the answer, I would reread, I would read the first sentence again, and then, then I would, let me just clear that, then I would read the last sentence of the last paragraph. Yeah? I would read the last sentence of the last paragraph, because the last sentence of the last paragraph is almost as important as the first sentence of the first paragraph, right? Because it's kind of a summary or a conclusion or what we have to know about this passage. And so let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at the last sentence. To feed an increasingly hungry world, farmers need every incentive to manage their soil and water resources effectively and efficiently. Okay. So I've read the first sentence and I've read the last. And if I look again at the options, A, B, C, D, E, I mean, why wouldn't I choose A? It's about management. And also, some more information for you. If I see here management, like that, and I see here, just give me a second, and I see here manage, yeah. If I see here manage, yeah, management, these are word family. And word family is a strong indicator of an answer. Okay. But I mean, if you don't feel comfortable answering that one straight away, then what you can do still, no problem. What you can do is, you know, I think it's A. You can say, I think it's A, but don't put the answer on the answer sheet right now. You can hang on, wait until you finish, or wait until you've answered the other questions, and then say, yeah, I think it is A, and then put it there. You may change your mind, possibly, but I think, I don't know, I think these are designed to confuse you. And I think answering it early rather than later is better. First sentence of the first paragraph, last sentence of the last paragraph. That should give you the title. And it's funny, actually, when you do that, and maybe you can't see the answer, but you can see which one is not the answer. So you say, well, no, erosion, no, fertilizer, no, font, no. You think, oh, well, it must be A then. So, you know, by looking at the first sentence of the first and the last sentence of the last, and then you come back and eliminate wrong answers, that is very nice. That is very sweet thing to do. Even if I'm not sure about A, I can be kind of more sure that it's not B, C, D, or E. And this is a point about multiple choice questions, as we will see. Wow, so just to recap, do you know recap? To recap, I recap a lot. It means just to repeat, more or less, to summarize what I've said. Right, so we looked at, to recap, we looked at the title, okay, and we read the first and second sentences. Okay, we had a pretty good idea. We started to look at the questions, headings, and you can say by luck, if you like, we were able to answer 27 now. But anyway, we wanted to look at the questions, and because the headings, I like to look at them first. Don't spend too long, but there are certain words here that you need to know about, organization words. So, you know, I looked at these organization words. They help me to understand. After that, I looked at the other questions, remember? I looked at the multiple choice, and I wanted to see where it began. And I went back to the passage to see where it starts. I looked at the other questions here, completion in this case, in order, and the instructions helped me a lot. Section C. I should tell you, if they didn't tell me that these are in section C, if there was, you know, if there wasn't this instruction, I would still look at a word like deforestation and quickly go back to the passage, scan and find deforestation, because I need to know where 37, where it starts. Yeah. And it's a nice word, deforestation, even if I don't know the meaning of it. It's a big, long word, and so maybe I can see it easily. So I would scan and look for deforestation. I didn't have to do that in this case, because very kindly, IELTS told me where the answers are. So that was nice. And then, by the way, I looked at 41, the best title, and I think we're pretty sure that the answer is A for that. So the main point is you need to look at the questions as soon as you can. You want to look at the questions. I want to see the questions now. But before you look at the questions, look at the title. Get some idea first. That's all. That's all. And how long does it take to do what we have that I've tried to explain? How long does it take to look at the title, look at the headings, answer that heading, look at the multiple choice, find the beginning. The next group, completion, find the beginning. And then look at the last one. How long would that take me to do? Not very long. It's not very long because, I mean, I'm reading 2 sentences in the first paragraph. I looked at the headings quickly. Yeah. I looked for multiple choice, United States, 1983, whatever it was. Found that quickly. And I read the instructions for 37 to 40, section C. And I just saw the title in the last one there. So how long would that take you? A minute, something like that, about a minute. A minute is a long time. You can do a lot in a minute. You know, title, look at that, keep looking. Okay, let's not 1 minute, say 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes, just to have a look at the questions, to get a general sense of control, that you are starting to control this reading passage. It is not controlling you. You are controlling it. You understand it. Okay. I think 2 minutes, you know, but even if it's even a little bit longer than that, I think that's okay too. We have 25 minutes for passage number 3. All right, so I've looked at the title, I've looked at the questions. Now what do? I want to start answering the questions. Well, I've already answered 2 before I've even started. So my confidence in the test, my confidence is you know, is good. It's high. So now what do I want to do? I want to go to section B. Okay, so 28 is in section B. So hold on a minute. Do I have to read the rest of A? We answered question 27, didn't we, from A? And the next heading question is in B, right? And the multiple choice questions begin in C. And 37 to 40 are also in C. So I know that there are no more questions in A. There's no more questions in A. I know that. You see? So once you know where the questions start, then you know you don't have to read that. That would be a huge waste of time. And this particular reading has been in my book since I started. I started this course in Saudi, by the way, in case you're interested, in Al-Khabar. And the first reading that I put in the book was this one, because I thought, oh, this is brilliant. Lovely reading, this one. It's difficult, but it's good for training. So I feel a great affection for this reading. But honestly, in more than 10 years, 12 years, I have never read A. Honestly, I've never read it. I don't know what it says. I don't need to read it. I'm not interested in reading it, to be honest. I'm just interested in answering the questions for IELTS. And this is so sweet to do this. Okay, so let's go now to the next question, 28, which is the topic for the heading, you can call it, for B. So let's look at the first. Let's look at the first sentence in B. And it says here, no activity affects. Oh, I like affect. It's one of those words. No activity affects more of the Earth's surface. It's a very common word in IELTS, surface, the surface of the Earth. It's in the listening a lot because of the pronunciation, surface. Anyway, no activity affects more of the Earth's surface than farming. So if I'm going to concentrate my attention on one sentence, it means I'm going to read that sentence very carefully, not just read everything and hope I understand. No, really focus on less and get the meaning. No activity affects more of the Earth's surface than farming. That means that farming affects the Earth's surface more than anything else, more than any other activity. No activity affects more of the Earth's surface than farming. Farming is the #1 cause of changing the surface of the Earth. Okay. Just as insurance, I'm going to start reading the second paragraph. World food output per head has risen by 4% between 1970 and 1980s, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to read all that. Some more interesting information. As the first sentence is the topic of the paragraph, so the first few words of each sentence, is the title of the sentence. It's the title of the sentence. This sentence here is about world food output, and the rest of the sentence is supporting information about the title of the sentence. So sometimes I don't have to read the whole sentence to get, to understand what it's about. I can just look at the first few words. How many words at the beginning? I don't know. Just enough so you can see, this sentence is about this. Okay. Do I want to read the rest of the sentence? Not really. The rest of the sentence is supporting information about this title. This is important that you know this. Let me repeat. As the first sentence of the paragraph is the topic of the paragraph, so the first few words of each sentence are the title of the sentence. So do I have to read the rest of it? No, not. I may have to read the rest of it in answering a question. If there is a question about this sentence, then okay, then I'll come back and then I'll read it. But just to get the general idea, so I just look at the first few words of the sentence. So what I would do, I would read, world food output per head has risen by 4% between blah, 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 blah. And I just start to think, blah, 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 blah. It's just blah, 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 blah. And if I need to come back to that blah, 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 then I will come back to it. But I don't need that blah, blah, blah right now. I just want to know what it's about. That's all. We're answering now the heading question. I think it's the fact that farming really has a big effect on the surface of the Earth, and maybe, I don't know, something about world food or something. Okay, so let's go back to our headings. Let me just clear that. It's a bit confusing. So let's have a look here. So which of these would you say is about farming? And what would you say? Oh, I nearly said the answer. So you can see here that the answer is this one. How easy is that? Yep, that's easy. By the way, I'm giving you all my secrets today. When you see when you see "and" in the heading, oh, go away. When you see "and," like here, and okay, like that. Usually, although it's not always true, I suppose, but I always have that feeling that in the headings, when you see something and something, it means one sentence information with another sentence information. You know, this sentence and that sentence there. That's quite useful to know. Quite useful to know, because maybe the "and" part, like here, maybe the soil erosion is in the next sentence or something like that. You see, so that's important too. Anyway, we've got the answer to A, which was 5V, and we have the answer to B, which is 7. So I think you can guess what I'm going to say now. Do I have to read the rest of B? Do I have to read the rest of B? I've read the first sentence and I've read some of the second sentence, but we know, because we were organized, we know that the multiple choice are in C, and we know that the completion are in C. Do I have to, are there any more questions in B? No more questions in B. You see how organized you are. Yeah. Time is the big thing. It's not easy, this. You won't hear me say that this is easy, but once you've done a few like this, once you've done a few reading passages, it's, I always say, it's like learning how to drive. You know, when you're learning how to drive for the first time, driving a car, you know, you've got the steering wheel, you've got the gear, you've got the gear stick, the gears over here. You've got pedals on the floor, you know, accelerator, brake, clutch on the floor. You've got mirrors all over the place. And you think, oh, how can you learn to drive? You have to be very intelligent to drive a car, because there's so many different things that you have to remember to do. And I always think reading is a little bit like that. I mean, IELTS reading, by the way, it's a little bit like that. You've got to do this and do that, and then vroom, come together, and then you can do it really fast. Doesn't mean you have to drive fast, by the way, but anyway. So we're now starting in C. Thank God for that. Okay. So the first thing I would do, what you could do, I wouldn't, but what you could do is, you know that there are 6 questions in C. Okay. And what you can do, if you like, you could read, because 6 questions, it's almost half of passage number 3. These 6 questions, almost half. So you might just tell yourself, you know what? I think I'll read C. I think I'll read it, get a very good idea about C, because there are 6 questions in it. So it's worth reading it. I didn't want to read A because I didn't need to. I didn't want to read B because I didn't need to. But I know that there are 6. Now, knowing there are 6 questions changes your strategy. It changes the way that you're thinking. Personally, I wouldn't bother reading it. You know, I would read it to answer the specific questions, actually. So what do we have to do? What I would do now is, what is it? I would go for 29, section C, the heading. Okay, so let's do that. So in other words, let's look at the first sentence. let's look at the first sentence and maybe the second sentence. Okay, so let's see this. All these activities may have damaging environmental impacts. Impact again, another one of these, you know, important words like cause, effect. Effect is impact. Cause and effect, impact. That's the strongest word here. So, but I can see here something. I can see that I've got this word, which is very useful for you in writing. These activities. These activities. When you see the word this or these at the beginning of a sentence, it shows you, it means that you are referring back. You are referring back to something that you talked about before. Now, this is referring back to the last sentence. The last sentence. Okay. So I'm going to read. So these activities may have damaging environmental impacts. So I need to know what these activities are. So I look at the previous sentence. These activities, this or these refers back. So I have to see what it's talking about, because if I can explain it maybe better. So you've got something affecting, so something has an impact on something else. So you could say, let me just move this a little bit. You could say that something, oops, that's, no, won't move. You could say that X, you could say that X has an impact on Y. Okay, so that's always the case. So X has an impact on Y. So something has environmental impacts. So the Y part here, this is the environment. So I want to know what is X? What is it that has an impact on the environment? You know, what are we talking about here specifically? And so that's why I need to see what these activities are. Okay, so these activities. So I'd look in the previous sentence. Look at the head. Look at the head of the sentence. The head is the first part. The head. Modern farming has led to higher yields as a result of increased irrigation, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I get to the blah, blah, blah pretty quickly. This sentence before is about modern farming, because that's the title of the sentence. So X, so I can say here that X means modern farming. Modern farming. So to go back is very important. Modern farming has a very big impact on the environment. Ah, it makes sense. How did I know to do that? I know to do that because I know that when you have this or these at the beginning of a sentence, then it means that the subject of this sentence is the same as the subject of the sentence before. So if I want to know the meaning of the sentence, I have to know, you know, what the subject is. And the subject is modern farming. Just remember, with this and these, to go back and double check to see what it is. Okay, so I did read part of B, but I only read part of B because I had to, for this reason. So modern farming has a big impact on the environment. Okay, so let's go back to those headings. And can you see anything like that? Can you see anything like that? And I think you can. You can see here the environmental impact of modern farming. And you may be starting to think, oh yes, well that's very easy. Maybe, but it's only easy if you do it correctly. So actually, the answer to that one is that one. Okay, and you cross it out. So we've managed to do that. So the heading, when you answer headings questions, you've got to make sure that you understand the topic of the paragraph first. Don't just read it and think, I don't know, and then look at the headings, because you're never going to find it if you do that. You've got to concentrate on the paragraph, concentrate on the topic of the paragraph, get it as clear as you possibly can, and then look at the heading. If you do it that way, headings, you'll get every heading correct. Headings are very nice, actually. I like headings questions. They're kind of easy in a way, if you do it properly. If you concentrate on the topic of the paragraph first, and then look at the headings, then you can get all of the headings correct. Okay, so before we move on to question 30, we've already started with C. So I don't want to answer question 30 now. I want to answer the other questions in C, because I'm into this topic now. This topic now is about the impact of modern farming on the environment. Okay, so I want to leave the headings now and go to the multiple choice, because I'm in C. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so here we are. We know that 33 is in C. Please let me repeat. I do not now go to the other headings. I'm in C. I know that there are many questions in C. I'm going to sit in paragraph C. Sure. I'm not going to go to D. Read it now. We didn't really read it before. We didn't need to. We just looked at keywords before. Now we have to read it. Research completed. Research. Every IELTS passage is about research, by the way. Research completed in 1982 found, findings, the result, organization word. Research completed in 1982 found that in United States, soil erosion, I'm not sure if I know the meaning. Okay, so I'm not going to look at A, B, C, D. Oh no, do not look at A, B, C, D. It's very, very dangerous. Forget it for now, it's poison. You need to find what the second half of this sentence is. So research completed 1982, United States soil erosion. So let's find this specific, well, it's not difficult to find because we already found it before. And having found it before, we would have underlined it already. United States, where the most careful measurements have been done, discovered in 1982 that, now that is a connector. So after that is the second half of the sentence. So the answer, in this case, the answer is here. Okay, the answer is here. So I have to read, don't look at A, B, C, D. I have to read this now, the blue part. About 1/5 of its farmland was suffering damaging loss of topsoil, leading to reduced soil activity. Let me just have a look at these chats. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's fine. Just have a quick look. Yeah. Okay. I've just looked at some of your questions. Interesting one. The difficult thing, if I can just say what one student has said, the difficult is we need to focus on 6 answers in just one paragraph. I would say that's not difficult. I would say that's the easy thing. When you've got 6 answers in one little paragraph, that's fantastic. If you don't answer all of those now, you're going to keep coming back to the same paragraph later. And you're in that paragraph right now. So once you know how to do these questions, you can do many different types of questions in one paragraph. Anyway, so it says here about 1/5 of its farmland, that's United States, 1/5, ooh, a fifth. Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. But a fifth is, what can you say, 1/5, which is like 20%. Yeah, a fifth. A fifth of its farmland was suffering damaging loss of topsoil, where the vegetables and the crops grow, the top. So 1/5 of its farmland was suffering damaging loss of topsoil, leading to, that's like causing, by the way, that's an organization word, lead to, leading to reduced soil productivity. That's a tough sentence. So I have to read it again because I don't really get it. 1/5 of its farmland was suffering damaging loss of topsoil, leading to reduced soil productivity. Okay. I can't say I understand that absolutely. Never mind. So let's have a look at A, B, C, D. I may not be able to find straight away the answer, but what I like to do with multiple choice is to look at A, B, C, D and eliminate, even if I didn't understand the sentence very well, I want to eliminate the wrong answers, to take away definitely the wrong answers. So A, B, C, D, which one of these, A, B, C, D, which one of these are not the answer? And I think that's the best way to do multiple choice. And you can see that B is not the answer. Almost as severe as India and China? No. And also D is not the answer. So we read that. And the first thing you need to do in the reading with multiple choice, eliminate definitely wrong answers. So of course, we are left with only 2 possibilities here. A and C. This is very nice. So this is now 50-50. So even if your English is not fantastic, you can still know that these 2 are not the answer. Very important. And anyway, even if your English is fantastic, I still like to do that anyway, because it's very sweet. Just as no, no, no. And sometimes, as we said before, I didn't really know the answer, but I know it's not, I know it's not B, C, and D. It must be A. So this is very useful. Anyway, let's have a look at A. So soil erosion reduced the productivity of farmland by 20%. Reduced the productivity of farmland by 20%. This looks good. Let's have a look at C. Was causing soil damage to 20% of farmland. What's the difference? So what I would do in this case, I would just go back to the sentence. 1/5 of the farmland was suffering, 1/5 of the farmland was suffering damaging loss of topsoil, leading to reduced soil productivity. 1/5 of the farmland was suffering damaging loss of topsoil. I see. I get it. So the answer, let's put that back. So the answer is definitely, well, let's do it this way. Sorry, beg your pardon. Oh, Tim, just a second. Okay, that's it. That's better. Maybe I still don't know the answer, but maybe what I can do is to eliminate, cross out one. It's not this one. It's not that one. It's not the productivity is reduced by 20%. 20% of the farmland was being damaged. And so C is definitely the answer. Was causing soil damage to 20% of farmland. So you were able to concentrate not on 4, but on 2, you know? So if you can eliminate as many as you can, sometimes you can only eliminate 1 out of the 4. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, so you're choosing from 3. But if you can eliminate 2 or even 3, that's fantastic to be able, to do that. By the way, now what I'm going to say now is quite important, actually. If I clear that, all right, if I didn't know, after reading it many times, I didn't know if it was A or if it was C. I can't see the difference between them, okay? And I have to guess. Sometimes you have to guess. Well, I would definitely, if I have to guess between A and C, and I didn't understand them at all, or not, I didn't understand them enough, I would definitely not choose A. If I didn't understand if the answer is A or C, and I kind of have to guess, I would definitely not choose A. The question is, why would I not choose A? And I'll show you why. Because in A, you see here, you've got reduced and productivity. And in the passage, what have you got? In the passage, you've got, just get this right. In the passage, you've got reduced and productivity. You see? You got exactly the same words. So IELTS knows that you don't know the answer. They know that you don't know the answer. So what do? They put here like they put a piece of cheese, and the mouse comes along and takes the cheese. What's the cheese? The cheese is reduced and productivity, the same. So a student, not you, but another student, would look at A and see reduced productivity, because in the passage it says reduced productivity. So that must be the answer. And that is exactly why it's not the answer, because that is a big IELTS trap. It's the same in the listening, the same in multiple choice, in the reading. When you see those same words there, it's unlikely to be the answer, because students would choose that because they're just matching the words without knowing the meaning. So that's a classic multiple choice trap. On the other hand, can I show you something else? On the other hand, I like C, even if I don't know the answer. That's, yeah, I mean that. Even if I don't know the answer, I still like C. Why? Because there are certain words here. Can you see? Damage. Okay? Damage. So we'll have to keep going backwards and forwards. I could have just split the screen, actually. Next time I will. So damage. Here you don't have damage. What you have is, if I can just get the right thing, you have damaging. See damaging? Damaging, this is word family. Word family, damage, damaging. Damage is a noun and a verb. And damaging is an adjective in this case. So word family is a very, very strong indicator of the correct answer. Not the same word, word family. Word family is very nice because you can see word family even if you don't know the meaning of the word. Even if you don't know the meaning, if you've got diversify, diversification. I don't know the meaning of those words, but I can see with my eyes that diversify and diversification are word family. And if I see in the passage diversify and I see in the question diversification, aha, very nice. That's the answer. If that's not the answer, you're having a very unlucky day because word family is a very strong indicator of the answer. And also, can you see here leading to in the question? Let's have a look again. Leading to is causing. It's causing. So what you've got here is not word family. What you've got here is synonym. And there's two things that multiple choice questions really like. That is word family and synonym. I am not saying that all you do is look for word family and synonyms. I am not saying that. I'm saying if you don't know the answer from the sense, from the meaning, you've got another chance. You've got another chance. If you really don't know the answer from the meaning, look and maybe eliminate the same words. So here they did repeat farmland and farmland, so they both can't be wrong. So it must be something else. So this is a very important piece of information for multiple choice. And then 34, 35, 36 will be in order after that. Again, I'm sorry to repeat, but if you really don't know the answer, go for the word family or synonym. And if you can't see word family, you can't see a synonym, at least you can see when words are exactly the same, when they're using the same words in A, B, C, D as in the passage. I'm not saying that is always wrong, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely that that it's wrong. Okay. So that's that. Okay. So multiple choice. The answer to that. Let me look at some of your messages here. Oh, that's nice. Causing. I can't read that. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, no, that's fine. I just want to see your feedback. There's a lot you have to know in reading, actually. But when you know certain things, can I say that it's quite good fun to do a reading passage. When the new IELTS book comes out every year, I look at like passage number 3. And I want all the new passages, in other words, that I haven't seen before. And I have to answer passage number 3 faster than my previous time. I have a record of how quick I can do a passage number 3. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because that sounds like it's not useful to know how quickly I can do it. But the point is that by myself practicing with the reading and doing lots and lots of reading, you start to get an idea about, I'm going to do it like this, like this, like this. And you can only really do that with practice. You know, to do it question by question, going through the passage many times, you're not going to finish passage number 3. You've got to find another strategy to do that, and that comes with practice. There's lots of practice around on the internet and everything else, you know. They don't explain anything, but there's lots of practice. Actually, a lot of the practices on the internet are not real IELTS. You can see, or I can see immediately, that's IELTS, that's not IELTS. You know, so sometimes you get a bit of a false, you know, a false result, because you can do a reading passage on the internet, it says IELTS, and suddenly you got band 8, you know, you go, oh, very good at reading. And then another day you do another reading passage and you got band 5, because the first one is too easy and the second one is too difficult. You know, it's not right. It's not real IELTS. It's not real IELTS. And so, you know, you have to be a little bit careful. But anyway, now the other thing here was section C, about these completion. So we know that we have to look for deforestation, and then find the cause of that, and the cause will come before the effect. The effect will come after the cause. Okay. So we're going to look now for deforestation. I hope it's the same word. And you can see almost immediately this word, deforestation. That I'm so glad I read the instructions, because if you're looking for this all over the passage, you may not be able to find it so easily. So something is the single cause of deforestation. So I have to go back to the beginning of the sentence to see what is the cause. So land clearing, the subject, the head of the sentence, the subject. Land clearing for agriculture is the largest cause of deforestation. So the answer to number 37 is definitely land clearing. Oh, but I have to choose A to G from the box. The answer A to G could be a synonym of land clearing, you know, but actually here it's the same. So we were lucky. Clearing land, clearing land. So 37 is definitely G. Okay, and then we can do another one if you like. Degraded water supply. Degraded water supply. Degraded. That's a difficult word, maybe. So in the same paragraph, we're looking for degraded water supply. So can we find, well, we can find water supplies, so that's nice. So maybe, I don't know, contaminate? I don't understand contaminate either. But I know it's water supplies, so maybe I can just skip that part and see what is the cause. What is the cause of blah, blah, blah water supplies? And I can see here that the cause is chemical fertilizers and pesticides, because that's the subject. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides, I don't really understand that anyway, may blah, 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 water supplies. So they gave me water supplies, so that's something. I'm not sure about this, but I think the answer is chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So just keep that in your head, chemical fertilizers and pesticides, and look at the box, and chemical fertilizers and pesticides, you can see something like, oh, not very nice, but I do have that. I do have that. Thank God for that. And so the answer is, for 38, is C. Yeah, it's, anyway, I don't know that it's C, actually. So again, fallow period, no. Plants, no. Irrigation, no. Pests and diseases, no. Soil erosion, no. And G, no, because we had it before. So even if I don't know, then I know the others are not the answer. And in this, they're in order, as we know. In this case, they give you the cause. So you've got to find out the effect. So you find more intensive farming, whatever that is, more intensive farming. Okay, more intensive farming. So what, can we find something about, oh, here we are, look, more intensive farming. Well, that's nice. So these are very close together. Very nice. Very nice. More intensive farming, exacerbate, and the abundance fallow periods tend to exacerbate soil erosion. So the cause, or sorry, the effect is about soil erosion. That's the end of the sentence, you see. That's the end of the sentence. Cause and effect. The cause is going to be at the beginning, and the effect will come after that. So I think the answer is F. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Soil erosion. So you get the idea. And after C, so we've answered a few questions now. We've answered in C. So what do we do now? We go to question 30. We go to question 30 now and find the topic of D. That'll be in the first sentence, probably. First sentence or two sentences. The last sentence, possibly, do you remember? Check that out. And also we know that in D, in this part of D here, we know that in D, we can answer question, whatever question number that is. We can answer question 30. We can answer question 30. And, of course, we can answer question 34 as well. It's very nice when you have two questions in one paragraph, because each question helps you to understand more about the other question. So it's more information in the paragraph. If you read them, if you answer them separately, you would be able to answer 34 when you know that the topic. In answering the topic, the heading, you would find out more about the paragraph. In the same paragraph, you've got another question about the same information. So that would be a lot better to answer the heading and the multiple choice while you are in paragraph D, because each question will help understand the other question as well. If you answer them separately, you don't have that advantage. And then you go through 35 will be in the next paragraph. Let's see if I'm right. By the way, 1985 Denmark, was that in D anyway? We didn't check that. Let's have a look. And you can see Denmark. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And then the next one is New Zealand. Ah, now that's where it's different, because New Zealand here, that's quite interesting, because let me explain this to you. Let me explain this. Then you've got E in the headings, you've got E and F, right? You've got E and F. So E and F, obviously, E and F. But hold on a second, with the multiple choice, they are not in section, they're in paragraphs. So we know 34 Denmark, 35 New Zealand. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so you can see Denmark. Now, let me just get that right. Where are you, Denmark? Yeah, Denmark is there. But look, New Zealand, that's not in C, that's not in E, that's in the next paragraph. And the next one after that is about biomass. It's the next one. So the multiple choice questions are in paragraph order. This, and then that, that, that. Whereas in this case, the headings were in sections. But that's fine. So you could answer those now and then go to E. So what I like to do is to work my way down the passage. So D is finished, and then the second paragraph of D is finished. There's a lot here today, and I could never explain so much as this to, lower levels. This is band 7. This is band 7 plus. Sorry, I just got to the completely wrong page. Never mind. Yeah, so it's been a lot today, and I think I'll have to go in any minute now. But let me have a look at some of your points here. Probably all of you saying, "Oh, I don't understand anything." Oh, okay. All right, that's good. That's good. Very nice. Let me just have a quick look, see if there's any questions I can answer. Very good. Okay. Could I recommend? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Could I recommend any IELTS exams? Well, the British Council and the IELTS have some practice tests on their website, and the only other type of is this one. It's the only one I trust of these here, and it's gonna. This is number 9. You can see it goes up to number 15 now. I trust those absolutely as real IELTS. I don't trust anything else, honestly. Even the course books are usually they're not real IELTS, but these are real, and they're very, very good, I have to say. So that's it, really. There's a lot here. There's an awful lot here for you to take in. But basically, you have to look at the title, start looking at the questions, try to work out, how am I going to do this? Where does each block of question, where does each one begin? And you can sit and read the instructions carefully. We did some information about headings questions, how to answer headings questions, how to answer multiple choice questions, very important that, and also completion as well. There's a lot more that I would like to tell you, but together it's probably too much information today, but I hope that has been helpful to you. Let me have a look to see if there are any other points, any other questions. Anybody, if you have any questions. How many people are here, by the way? There's quite a lot. Goodness
Yeah,
me.
38.
38. Wow, nice big
Yeah.
class. Super.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tim.
Thank you so much. Okay, good luck in your IELTS, and Ramadan Kareem. I hope Ramadan is okay for you.
Yeah,
and I wish you well over the fast.
Anybody have any question for Mr. Tim? If you have any question, just raise your hand.
Your pleasure, Salah. My pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine. Good
that's
luck.
fine. Thank you, Mr. Tim.
You're
Thank you
most
very much,
welcome.
and see you next lecture.
See you
And
next time. Good luck, everyone. Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck in your
Bye.
IELTS. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.